so much laundry. All right, if you're watching this video, you're probably getting ready to have a second baby, I'm guessing, just from the title. But this kind of conversation came up when I was talking to one of my bestest friends in the world. She's getting ready to have baby number 2 this summer, so very excited for this new baby to come. And we were talking about, what is it like having 2 instead of just the 1? And some other veteran mommies I've talked to, I think, said it well when they said, when you have another child, it doesn't matter what number it is, it's like multiplication, not addition. And I totally agree. And I have 2 very well-behaved children. They're very sweethearted, as I'm sure all of yours are as well. But kids are just kids. They take a ton of work. They're totally worth it. They're exhausting. They're perfect. They throw fits. The whole gamut. They're just wonderful and all-consuming. And there's no getting around that. So here's some of the things I noticed when I transitioned from just the 1 to now 2. And now they are 3.5 and turning 1 very, very soon. Okay, you guys, I think we can all admit that laundry used to be an occasional thing, but now when you have kids, it's an all the time thing. Both my kids had reflux super bad. And if you're not familiar with reflux, it's when they just throw up all the time. So much laundry. I feel like if I was just a single woman, just me, I could maybe get away with laundry once a week. Or maybe even every other, week and a half. But no, babies, every single day is laundry day. I also noticed that with 2, I just started cooking a ton at home. I've never really loved cooking before. I loved eating, but I just didn't really love cooking. Justin and I got married. I was 25. He was just turning 30. And so I think we both kind of had the single young adult lifestyle for a long time where it was just easier and more normal to go out when we were hungry. And then we met each other, and through our relationship and then being newlyweds, often, we would just go out for dinner regularly and, go on dates. And we'd cook at home sometimes, but we had a lot more expendable money then as well because we didn't have kids yet. And it was just fun to be out at restaurants at night. And we had some awesome takeout places where we lived and some awesome eat-in options and fun restaurants where we were living before we had children. And so it was just fun. We just really enjoyed that. And cooking for me has always been a means to an end. I know some people just love cooking and the process of it. And I'm really working on that. And I'm really trying to enjoy all of it because I want to enjoy it. And I love having the meal for my family and setting the table and eating together. I love that process, but I am starting to love the process of actually being creative with food. And I think it was because I've just been kind of an insecure cook. I didn't have a ton of recipes. I didn't feel super confident to just throw things together and come up with something gourmet. I have a sister who's really good at that. She just takes whatever random ingredient she sees and she makes this delicious meal out of it. And I ask her oh, where did you get your recipe? And she's like, I don't know. I just found this, found that, and I just made something. That is so definitely not me, but I'm working on it. I have to be a little bit more structured and have the meal plan and do the grocery shopping and then have the time to cook. But I'm working on enjoying that whole process because I've noticed, for one, it's cheaper to eat at home. I think most of the time it's healthier to eat at home, and it's so much easier with young children. Sometimes they're okay with being out at night, but with them and being in childcare during the day while both parents, my husband and I, are working full time, and then to expect them to be well behaved and be out longer at night, it just seems like more often than not there's food on the floor and juice spilled and crying and them just wanting to be home in their homes because they've been all day. And I think it's easy to think that they don't really mind and they're just get packed along with us, but I've been learning this last year that my toddler likes to be home. He wants to be playing with his toys in his room, with his bookshelf. He wants his special toys. He wants his lovey blankie. He wants the routine of putting on jammies and reading a story. And he wants all those things. And even if we go out at night, we're still home, early for bedtime routines and everything, but he just is such a homebody. He wants to be here. He wants to be using his special fork and do his routine of helping mommy set the table and then clear the table and all those little things. He just wants to be home. So with all those things combined, I've been really having to put in a huge effort to cooking regularly almost all the time and having those meals ready at home. That's taken a lot more forethought on my part, like actually meal planning. And I have a calendar where I write out all the meals and I put it in my phone. I do my grocery orders in advance. I do like a grocery pickup service. So I put in all my groceries, order in advance. I have the groceries here. It's all waiting. So all that's part of just like my weekly routine of every Thursday night, I put together my weekly meal plan for the next week. Every Friday, put in my grocery order. Every Friday afternoon after work, I pick up my groceries, and then I start on like a Saturday to the next Friday meal plan cycle. And with that, my next point is just staying at home. We stay at home so much more now with the 2 kids than we did just with my oldest. With my oldest, we just, put him in the car and he'd go everywhere with us. We never let having him like really slow us down. But it was so much easier. We could share him back and forth. We could both pack him around. We could stroll him around. He was a really easygoing baby. And our daughter is really easygoing as well. But now we have a toddler in the mix. And toddler big brother is usually harder, honestly, than, the baby who's just now starting to walk, because he gets wiggly and he wants to be playing and he has strong preferences, and baby she's still pretty young. She just kind of goes with the flow. But now having the 2 of them, it is so much easier to just be home and have all of their toys and their perimeters and their snacks and a bathroom, because my 3.5-year-old has been potty trained for a year. So it is so much easier to have bathrooms easily accessible than constantly being out. I was recently with some girlfriends and we decided to get together and have a little play date at the park. And none of us were able to connect as moms because we were chasing our kids and the park was so crowded. So we were focusing on knowing where our kids were at all times and staying with our boys are all very young. So they're all little toddlers. And you know how fast toddlers can move, especially in a crowded playground. So we were being good moms and watching them, but we couldn't just, enjoy each other and talk like, how we were hoping to. So I think I've noticed even with like mommy dates and getting together with moms and other kids, just going to someone's home is so much easier and calmer. Accessible bathrooms, snacks, toys, knowing where they are and be able to supervise them easily, just so much easier. So staying at home has really become a priority for us. Now I am a working mom. I work as a teacher. So, this is all in context of I work all day and then I come home. So on the weekends, I'm more so talking about like nights and weekends. My kids just love being home. And I think that's because they're gone, during the Monday through Friday school day, they're in childcare. I imagine, I don't know, but if I was home full time, I would imagine that they would be more excited about doing outings and going places and having play dates. But as it stands right now, more often than not, my toddler says, "But Mom, could we just stay home, please?" Okay, something that was rough for us was when we brought baby home from the hospital a year ago. Toddler was 2.5, and he's the oldest in our whole family. I'm the first sibling of my siblings to have a baby, so he was really used to getting everyone's attention. He was not used to playing on his own. He always had a playmate. He had aunts and uncles and grandparents, and both of his parents, me and my husband, at his beck and call. And we were all always, thrilled to play with him and spend time with him because he was the only one, and everything was just new and exciting. And then this, little baby came home, and all of a sudden he didn't always have, grown-up playmates who were available to play with him, and that was really hard for him to not always have everyone's attention. And I'm not just talking about mommy or daddy, but everyone. He was used to having everyone's attention. And everyone, still loved him. Obviously, we all still loved him. But now there was, 2 taking our attention. My husband and I read an article right before the baby came last year, and it was talking about considering, considering those first couple of weeks right when babies come home, really going out of your way to give attention to older, in this case, my son, so older big brother. And her argument, I think this was like a pediatrician or a child psychologist. I couldn't tell you, and I don't even remember what the article was, but we remember reading this. It was an article about transitioning, how to get like an older sibling ready for a baby to come home from the hospital. But they were saying to really give attention to the older sibling when they were trying to get your attention. So it was not to neglect baby. So don't get the the wrong, don't twist this the wrong way. But it's not to neglect the baby. But they were saying that if baby is needing something and safe, baby is not going to remember having to cry for 10 extra seconds, but toddler will remember feeling the feelings of being neglected and forgotten. So this article was saying consider giving a lot of attention to the toddler. If they're needing something, do it real quick for them right away. And if baby is crying for an extra couple of seconds while you're getting toddler a drink of milk and then getting the baby a bottle, all things in context, if baby is safe and okay, that baby won't remember that extra couple seconds of crying, but toddler will remember if you're always constantly going to baby and ignoring them. So we kind of took on that philosophy to sort of prioritize being intentional with Big Brother in context of, needing to be good parents, obviously, for babies. So, don't take this out of context or anything. And then we would just start including Big Brother in the care of little sister as well. So if baby was crying, then often Big Brother would start crying just to see if he could get attention too. So then we'd include him in the care. Like, for example, if baby was crying and needed to be fed, hey, Big Brother, your sister's needing some milk. Or do you need some milk? How about let's go get both of you guys some milk? Will you help me bring the bottle to your sister? And then it was like it was a game changer, because then we were partnering together as a family to take care of this new member of our family. And it was not which child is the favorite or which child is going to get the attention. Then we're doing it together. And then slowly we transitioned out of that. And obviously, if baby is in trouble or in distress, that obviously safety is always going to come first. You guys understand, I think, what I'm trying to say. But it was just an interesting perspective for us to kind of embrace. And I do feel like that helped Big Brother feel like he was part of the process of welcoming a new member into our family. He was doing it with us. We were including her and welcoming her in, and he was helping in the care of her, toddler appropriate things like, oh, let's go change her diaper. You know what? Mommy needs your help to pick out a diaper, because he's really into like having the freedom to pick and choose things. Of course, all the diapers were the same, but he would open her drawer and really him and Hav were like, which diaper does she need right now? This one. No, she needs this one. No, actually this one. So it was like adorable to see him like feel really good about which diaper he chose for little sister, or little sister needs a blankie. Will you go pick one out from her blankie bin? And then he just takes so much ownership and pride for choosing the perfect one that she really wanted. So it really helped. And then, slowly we stopped prioritizing any and just prioritizing, our family in general and who's, we're having what kind of needs. But initially we did make sure that Big Brother knew he was very special and very important to our family. With remembering that your older child is possibly having a lot of feelings of this new baby coming into the family and possibly getting less time with you, I really made it a point when the baby was sleeping and when I could, that if baby was taking a nap, to have Big Brother come up and sit on my lap and get some really good cuddles. Maybe we'd watch a cartoon, and you know what, sometimes that's when I needed to take a nap, but I could take a nap and have my arm around him and he could just sit on my lap and he could watch his cartoon with his blankie sitting on my lap and still feel like he was getting mommy all to himself sometimes too. Now, it's not always going to work out like that. Every day is going to be different. Sometimes babies don't go down regularly. Sometimes their tummies are hurting. Sometimes they're crying. Sometimes mommies are just exhausted. Sometimes mommies need to do laundry while baby is sleeping, or eat or shower. That's awesome. When you have a tiny little baby and you're transitioning, that's a luxury sometimes. But I'm just saying, sometimes do some of those special things that were really bonding and connecting before. So for me and my 3.5-year-old son, before we had a baby, he and I would just love to cuddle with our blankies on the couch together and watch little cartoons occasionally. So I really tried to make that a part of something we did after baby sister came from the hospital. Of course, only when we could, and only sometimes, but it was still just a little point of us connecting. I have heard of parents when the baby is sleeping, doing really intentional things with older siblings. So that could look like just reading a book, giving them a bath all by themselves, just doing something that they like, that they love to do, whether that's coloring or playing pretend or playing dress up or whatever they love doing, just giving them your attention. And I'm not even saying every time baby's sleeping or all the time, but just occasionally, just to reconnect. I think it goes a long way. In conclusion, for me, the most rewarding part of transitioning from 1 to 2 is seeing the 2 of my kids start a incredible lifelong relationship with each other. When they're in their child care during the school year while I'm teaching, I've had their care providers tell me that whenever my little girl is crying, the only person that can cheer her up is Big Brother, and he knows it too. He loves it. He loves that all he has to do is make some of these silly sounds he always makes to her and make a silly face. When sometimes, honestly, he just looks at her and she starts cracking up because it's hilarious to her. We don't understand. He is the funniest person in the world to her. Not even her dad or I can get her to laugh the same as Big Brother. And he loves knowing that he can do that. So sometimes if she's just really crying and inconsolable, they'll have him come in to the nursery room from his big boy preschool room, and he'll come in, he'll just talk to her, and she instantly calms down. She starts laughing and giggling, and she'll just make sounds right back to him like they're having their own little conversation, and it is so precious. And he knows that he's a really big part of her life. And he also has like really taken on a lot of ownership, and he tells me like what her preferences are sometimes. Of course, how would he know? But he's just like really taking a lot of ownership and what she needs and what she wants. And I think because we brought him into caretaking for her with us as grown-ups, so we ask him to do things to help her, and then we really praise him for being, an excellent helper. Only Big Brothers could carry that across the room. Thanks for helping her, things like that. Just really praising him for being, really sweet and intentional with his sister. And then he naturally does it. I just love hearing them talk to each other. I love singing in the car sometimes when they just start singing to each other, and it's just precious. I mean, my almost 1-year-old doesn't talk, but she growls and gurgles right along with him and coos, and it is so precious. So that is definitely my favorite part of going from 1 to 2, is just seeing them become best friends and truly care for and love each other so much. And I think that's something I've noticed. I'm 32 now. I had some like best friends in middle school. I thought I'd be best friends with them till I was like died. And then high school happened, and we all kind of just went our own separate ways, which like at the time blew my mind. Like, how could we be so close? And then now we're not, I think we probably all experienced something like that. And then those high school friends I had, thought we'd be best friends forever. And then we all went to college and kind of started careers. And there's just been different seasons. And it really does feel like sometimes the only consistent best friends you have for your whole life, your brothers and your sisters and your parents. And, if you're lucky, some of those really incredible friends that do become lifelong friends. But it doesn't happen by accident. And for sure, family is hopefully something you can always count on and always rely on. So anyways, that is my favorite part of going from 1 to 2. I hope you guys have a smooth transition if you're getting ready to go from 1 to 2, and my thoughts are with you. It's a lot of laundry, a lot of messes, and a whole lot of fun. And life is wonderful. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.